Well, it's day 2 of the African Peer Review Mechanism's 20th anniversary, and quite a number of issues really are being discussed facing the African continent. And as you do know, that the issue of good governance, security and democracy and many other issues as well are quite important. But also something that is very topical in the African continent are the recent events of insecurity, the rise of extremism, especially where also you have also a number of conflicts in countries like Sudan. But joining us now is the founder and executive director from ACOD, Dr. Gounden. So, Doctor, thank you so much indeed once again for your time.
Thank you very much, Kaya.
So, Doctor, you just delivered a very quite sharp report about these developments in the African continent and the globe as well. You know, when you look at the issues of conflict, but also, you know, the issues around the population growth. And also, most importantly, you know, what we're seeing when it comes to these intractable conflicts, but also these coups that are mushrooming in the continent. How do we tackle all these issues?
So, Kaya, as you saw when I did the presentation inside, I presented what I would term not a pessimistic view of the continent, but a realistic view. But the realistic view also points to real dangers that the continent faces. And as I said to the delegates inside, we have about a decade or 2 decades to correct the deep challenges that we are facing as a continent. What are those challenges? Firstly, we have exponential population growth. I gave the numbers. You know, our population in 1990 was 600 million. Today we are 1.4 billion. That's 800 million more people. By 2050, we will be 2.4 billion and 1 billion young people. So we have a demographic challenge, but we don't have a population challenge because we're a huge continent. We have a development challenge. So our development on the continent has not kept up with our population growth and the rapid urbanization that's taking place. So what is happening is millions of people are coming to the center, but we don't have any industrialization taking place. We're still very agrarian, but subsistence agrarian. We haven't industrialized agriculture also. So we don't have employment creation. The growth that we are seeing on our continent is investment in extractive industries. This is jobless growth. So we have to correct that very fast on the continent, because the millions who are coming to the center, unlike Europe, Asia, Latin America, when they were urbanizing, they were industrializing. So low-skilled farm workers coming to the center were absorbed into low-skilled factory jobs. This is not happening in Africa. So people coming to the center are coming to no jobs, housing, etc., etc. And in a decade from now, there will be huge challenges that we will be facing on the continent that will be irreversible. So we need to act, and act immediately, to look at how we transform our economies from agrarian subsistence economies to industrialized economies. Industrialization in the rural areas where we industrialize agriculture, but also creating factories and creating jobs. This is how other parts of the world develop. So this is the deep structural challenges that we are facing. Today we are here, as you know, the 3rd retreat of the African Peer Review Mechanism and the Peace and Security Council, dealing with governance and security. And we are very proud that this is the 3rd time that we are co-hosting with them as a court this 3rd retreat. And what I wanted to highlight to the Peace and Security Council, as well as the panel of the elders of the APRM and the panel of the wise of the African Union, that we need to act, and we need to act today.
Acting today, Doctor, the issue of conflicts in Africa, very intractable conflicts. I mean, we're seeing what's happening in the Eastern DRC, and they're going to the elections, you know, and looking at the situation in Sudan. How do we get to the bottom of these problems?
So, as I also indicated to our delegates, this is, again, because of these challenges, there are 2 things that are happening. We are seeing a rise in social and political conflict in urban areas, and we are seeing a rise in insurgencies, extremist groups and criminal syndicates. So just to give you a number, between 2014 and today, there's a 400% rise in insurgencies, and we see this across the continent. So increasingly governments dealing with the challenges of development and in a sense, really challenged to meet those demands. They are losing control of their sovereign territory. So they are not in control of their borders increasingly. That vacuum is being filled by insurgencies and criminal syndicates. So we are going to see a rise in instability on the continent. In the meanwhile, the answer to a lot of our problems is all these rich minerals that we have on the continent need to be beneficiated. We don't need countries outside of our continent to be extracting our minerals, taking them, adding value and selling them back to us. We don't even have the money to buy them, and we won't have them in the future. We need countries outside, whether it's China, whether it's Russia, whether it's United States or European countries or the Asian tigers. We need them to bring their investment, to bring their know-how and technology, and to assist us to beneficiate our minerals on the continent so that we grow our employment base on the continent. We're able to employ and give livelihoods to the millions of people that are going to be out there marginalized. We need inclusive economic development within the continent and with the continent and the rest of the world.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much indeed for your insights. Much appreciated there. So quite a very important day here in Sandton, Johannesburg, as the APRM is marking the milestone, but also during the course of the day, it's night to expect a gala dinner to be delivered by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa alongside Sierra Leone President Bayo, who is here in South Africa. Khayelihle, Khumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.